Good morning, everyone. It is 10 a.m. on the East Coast and early still 7 a.m. on the West Coast. I'm joined by Arianna Huffington and Fran Katsoudas from Cisco. Ladies, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning, Deirdre.
And I'm so glad that we get to do this format. We're broadcasting across all of CNBC's social media platforms. So for those of you that are watching, please send in your comments, questions, let us know what you want to know. But you guys are here to announce a very important partnership. So why don't we start with the details, because this is just out. Fran, from the Cisco side, why don't you start with what a lot of people are familiar with over the last year, which is this, we know it is Zoom fatigue. We can also call it WebEx, or just plain fatigue from constantly being on meetings and videos and so on amid the pandemic.
Yes, so thank you. We're so excited to talk about this. And what we realize is there's such a beautiful intersection that we can architect around technology and connection. And to move away from that fatigue, one of the things that we're doing is partnering with Thrive to bring in something called a reset. I think we all know this experience. You're in back-to-back meetings. You don't even have a moment to go to the bathroom to get a drink. And sometimes we know, and the research tells us, that just taking 30 to 60 seconds to stretch, perhaps to look at something that's meaningful and inspiring to you, puts you in a beautiful place for your next meeting. And that's exactly what we're doing with Arianna and Thrive, and we're thrilled. This is something that we'll be embedding into our WebEx technology. Again, from a WebEx perspective, we've been so focused on inclusion and connectivity. We will then move it into our contact centers and ensure that our contact center agents also have a break throughout the day. And then lastly, we're really excited about some of the opportunities that we have as it relates to leadership and hybrid work.
Right. And Arianna, who would have thought, right, maybe at the beginning of the pandemic, that working from home would be so tiring that, as Fran says, you'd have to sort of search for these bathroom breaks. What have you seen over the last year or so that made you think this is really necessary to partner with, one of the video conferencing leaders to make sure that people take time out of their daily lives and make sure they're focusing on their mental health and stepping away from the busyness?
Well, Deirdre, what is so exciting to us about this partnership is that basically we are using technology to help us alleviate the problems that technology has created through these wall-to-wall meetings without interruption. And what we love about bringing Reset into WebEx is that in 60 seconds, people have the opportunity to distress. It's just an amazing neuroscientific finding that that's all it takes to release the cortisol hormone from our bodies, to move us into the parasympathetic nervous system, away from fight or flight. I love the fact that Reset, which brings so much intimacy into our team meetings, into our relationships with our co-workers, is based on science. And I'd love you to see Fran's reset, for example, her personal reset of pictures of her family, her favorite quotes, landscapes, music with a breathing bubble, and to see the impact it can have in just 60 seconds. Because, Deirdre, we all feel overwhelmed. And if you tell people take 20 minutes to meditate, it seems daunting. But if you tell them, can you take 60 seconds? And WebEx will come preloaded with these resets, focusing on your breath, asking you to get up and stretch, remember what you're grateful for, multiple different ways to distress.
I love this idea of a personalized reset that you sort of have control over. You mentioned Fran's. Arianna, what's in yours before I ask my next question?
So mine, pictures of my children when they were young and unproblematic. Music that I love, like Taylor Swift, You Need to Calm Down. Favorite quotes like Rumi, live life as though everything is rigged in your favor. And the minute you play it, it does something to your nervous system. And when your colleagues see it, it's a window into your life. And, Cisco has released research that shows that While pre-pandemic, only 8% of meetings did you have somebody remote. Post-pandemic, it's going to be in 98% of meetings because of the nature of hybrid work. So
Right.
how do we bring intimacy, empathy into these meetings, which are going to be partly in person, partly remote? Reset is the way to do it.
Interesting that you can share it with other colleagues. So, Fran, we had a preview. What's in yours? And what's your music of choice? Taylor Swift also, or something else?
So it's really funny. I was telling Arianna that I watched my reset like 3 or 4 times yesterday. And every time I watched it, I smiled because it's pictures of my extended family. It's some of the fun pictures capturing us in some of our funny moments. I also have quotes that ground me, but also some humor. And my music was a little bit more upbeat because when I look at pictures of family, when I look at some of the funny quotes, it just makes me laugh and have energy as I go into the next thing. And like Arianna said, what we're so excited about is from a WebEx perspective, people will be able to develop their own resets or then just use some of the standard resets based on what's going on for you. But the fact that it had impact on me and I'm the one who selected my photos and quotes, I thought was fascinating.
Right. Now I got to think about what I would put into mine, what music especially. So here's my question, though. We are coming out of the pandemic now. A lot of employees are going back to work. There are some concerns about how many businesses will continue to use WebEx and Zoom and other video conferencing services. So how does this translate to a hybrid workforce, one that is increasingly going back to the office, Fran?
So the first thing I would say is there is such a huge difference between remote and hybrid. And we have to remember that. Remote was the old world where people forgot that there were a few folks on the line or on video and there's a conversation in the room. What you're going to hear from us next Tuesday, we actually have some big WebEx announcements, is that we're going to make it really seamless. Whether you're in the room or you're working from anywhere, it's going to be the same experience. You know, something that I've heard people say quite a bit is that one of the benefits of the last 14 months is that every single one of our boxes when we're in a video meeting is the same size. And what we want to do is create this environment where everyone is seen and heard. And so we're going to do our best to make hybrid a leap forward in the overall experience and connection.
And Arianna, what do you think when you hear some CEOs say that, you know, they want to get off Zoom and WebEx altogether and they want people back in the office? What are the implications of that? And there is sort of a debate going on. I also talked to some CEOs, especially in the tech sector, that say if you don't have flexibility for your workers, you're going to have a hard time finding talent. What is the right way forward for the future of work?
The future of work is going to be hybrid, period. So the sooner we accept it and the sooner we make sure that we integrate humanity into our technology, the more effective we are going to be. And Deirdre, this is not just for knowledge workers. The reason why Fran and I are so excited about bringing Reset into contact centers is because frontline workers have also been incredibly affected by this stress. Just think of a contact center where you are dealing with customers often dissatisfied, call after call after call. And in between calls, you are fed this reset, asking you to take 60 seconds for yourself, to remember what you are grateful for, to take some deep conscious breaths, or to get up and stretch. And what I love about that is that the biggest champion for integrating Reset into WebEx contact centers is Fran, and she needs to tell you why. She started her life at Cisco 25 years ago as a contact center agent.
Wow.
So she knows what they are dealing with.
So you know the importance of it, Fran, firsthand. But we only have a few minutes left, and Arianna, I did want to ask you as well. You mentioned sort of these frontline workers. What about not the call center workers, but warehouse workers? Is this an exclusive partnership, or do you see this do you see Thrive partnering with other corporations, for example, in Amazon, which I don't know if you saw, it just came out with those Amazon booths to try and encourage their warehouse workers to take some time off themselves. So are you talking to other companies about a similar program?
Well, yes, the 60-second intervention is something that can transform our experience, whether we're a knowledge worker, a frontline worker. It's really based on the understanding that the human operating system needs little breaks. You know, we look at software, Deirdre, and the goal of software is to minimize downtime. But for the human operating system, downtime is a feature, not a bug. So we need to change the way in our culture, especially in the tech world. As you know, we have glamorized being always on without interruptions because there are diminishing returns, and it actually significantly reduces our productivity, our empathy, which is critical for a diverse and inclusive workplace. And also it makes it much harder to create that culture of belonging.
Interesting. So, Fran, let me ask you then, is this exclusive? Is this partnership exclusive? Do you think that the whole industry would benefit from this, whether that's through your competitors like Zoom or in person? Is this something sort of a big mission statement or something that you want to make unique to Cisco?
It's a little bit of both. You know, one of our guideposts is our purpose, which is to power an inclusive future for all. And so on the one hand, I would say that we want workers everywhere to have resets. I think this is incredibly important. What you will see is that our integration will go a little bit deeper, and that we will be embedding in our technology a lot of features and thoughtfulness around inclusion and connection and well-being. I think that really differentiates us. And to Arianna's point earlier, it is so hard when you are a contact center agent and you're answering 80 phone calls a day and they just go back to back. And so what we recognize at Cisco is through our technology, through great partnerships like this one with Thrive, we can really change the experience and hopefully bring well-being to people around the globe.
Right. Well, I look forward to seeing this in action. Thank you both so much for breaking it down for us. I think it's a really important topic, giving us your views on the future of work. And I will look for those reels. I will create my own. I hope. I still got to think about what music and pictures to use, but I'm on it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and keep us posted.
Thank you so much, Deirdre. Can't wait to see your reset.
Yes. Okay. Bye, ladies. Thank you again.